So they're putting ads on jerseys now. Awesome. Yep, that's right. We found out this morning that the NHL owners have approved a plan to go forward with adding advertisements to the jerseys starting in the 2022-23 season. This coming just a year after adding advertisements to the helmets. Now, I do want to say right out of the gate that when it comes to jerseys and the more aesthetic part of the game, everything here is up to personal opinion, and there definitely are two pretty good sized groups of people when it comes to this issue of adding ads to jerseys. There are definitely a fair number of people who really just don't care, and maybe even some who, for some reason, like the fact that there's going to be ads on jerseys. And then there's probably the majority of people who really do not like that jerseys starting in 2022 will be tainted with corporate sponsorships. But regardless of which side you're on, you are entitled to your opinion, but do recognize that it is just that. With that having been said, let's start with the few facts about this that we do know at this point in time. Really, pretty much the only thing that we know for sure is that it will be just one ad that is allowed, and it will be limited to a 3.5 by 3 inch space, which makes it about the same size as a shoulder patch, maybe a little bit smaller. And while we don't know anything right now as far as if there's any limitations on where teams can put it on the jersey, I would imagine it probably ends up on the opposite side of wherever a team puts their captain or assistant captain letter. So to give you a little bit more of a visual idea of what that could look like, I'll just go ahead and add this right on there. Which, yes, to be clear, this is exactly 3.5 by 3 inches, which is the maximum size that ads can be starting in 22-23. So if you were thinking that this would maybe just be a little small patch like what's in the NBA, well, as you can see, it could stand out quite a bit more than that 2.5 inch patch that is on those jerseys. Personally, I absolutely hate that this is coming to the NHL, and to me, it absolutely is a slippery slope to the walking or skating billboards that are the jerseys in the Euro leagues or a lot of junior leagues, where you can hardly even tell what team it is on the ice because, again, their jerseys are just entirely covered in ads. Now, we're still a long ways away from that, and it will probably take quite a while to get there, but considering the fact that they just put ads on helmets for the first time last year, and now they're going right away to starting to put ads on jerseys just 2 years later, is definitely not a good sign for what could come in the future. You can't get this thing to frickin' stay on. Not that the NHL is going to have any trouble getting them to stay on, because these are not going anywhere once they go onto jerseys for the first time. I know when the NHL first put ads on helmets, they said that it was just going to be a temporary thing to recoup some of the losses from COVID, but they already said during last season that they're probably here to stay, and now that ads are coming to jerseys, yeah, they're not going anywhere either. There's no way that owners are going to agree to take money out of their pockets after they've decided to put it there. And that's exactly what these ads are. Now, yes, to be fair to those of you who don't care about the ads coming to jerseys, it is true that this isn't going to change the play on the ice whatsoever. It's not like adding a patch to the jerseys is going to slow down Connor McDavid or anything like that. Plus, to be honest, while the game's actually happening and there's action on the ice, I don't think that something even this size is going to be particularly noticeable until they do a close-up on the players. And yes, it's also true that even for a fan like me who absolutely hates the fact that even an ad like this is coming to the jerseys, I still will watch just as many games then as I do now, and honestly wouldn't even stop watching them even if things got as bad as they have in soccer or in European hockey, for example. That being said, it still does change the viewing experience a little bit for me. I mean, I would say that it's kind of like if you meet somebody with a really nice smile, for example, but they've got a small speck of like spinach or some kind of food in their teeth. It is a small thing, all things considered, but it's definitely a bit off-putting. Plus, this one comes with the added knowledge that it could be a pretty slippery slope to them just chewing with their mouth wide open down the road. But when it comes to merch sales and fans buying jerseys, this is where having ads on them could make a pretty significant difference. Now, I've already seen a number of people saying that this year, the last ad-free year, will be the last time that they buy a new jersey for an NHL team. Now, to be fair, I'm sure a lot of those people will probably end up buying a jersey again down the road, especially considering the fact that most, at least North American leagues where they do have ads on jerseys, like the NBA for example, you can still buy an NBA jersey brand new that doesn't have the ads on them. And I would be pretty surprised if the NHL doesn't have a similar thing to where if you do want to get a new jersey after 2022 and don't want to pay $200+ to be a walking billboard, then you can get a version of the jersey without the advertisement patch on it, which is definitely something that a lot of people will probably take advantage of. That having been said though, I do think there actually are a lot of fans out there who wouldn't even buy an ad-free version of the jersey as a sort of boycott to the fact that they have put ads on the game versions of the jerseys, especially when it comes to more traditional fans and fans of some of the older teams, especially the original six, for example. And with a jersey costing in the US anywhere from like $150 to $250, that could start to take a pretty big chunk out of what the teams could make with these advertisements. And when it comes to those helmet ads that entered the league a year ago, even the teams with the biggest fan bases and therefore the most to gain from advertising in Montreal and Toronto only made around $1 million on their ad deals. And while I do think you could probably get a little bit more out of a jersey ad as it is a little bit more prominent and easy to see, I can't imagine it being too much over $1 to $2 million that teams will be making off of these ad placements. And with jerseys being right around $200, all you would have to lose is 5,000 to 10,000 jersey sales, and then the entirety of the revenue that you gained from putting that on the jersey is completely gone. And you could say that people and jersey collectors will just get over it and get used to it eventually, but I still think there is something to be said for the fact that even if you can buy an ad-free version of a jersey, there are a fair number of people that want to have the jersey that the players are wearing on the ice, which would come with an ad. But they also probably aren't going to be super excited about paying $200 or more to be a walking billboard. So I do think it's definitely something to consider, the difference in jersey sales that could come with ads going on the jerseys. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Ultimately, again, it's not going to change how the game is played on the ice, even if it does turn out to be a bit of a gamble as far as revenue for the teams. Honestly, when all is said and done, at least for me, I probably could over a few years get used to one small ad patch on the shoulder of a jersey, but I still am pretty worried about this turning into a slippery slope towards some of those billboards that are the players in Europe. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but only time is going to tell. And now with ads coming to the jerseys, again, just a year after they were put on helmets for the first time, it's definitely something to be worried about. But I would love to hear your opinions and what you guys think about this, regardless of whether you disagree with me and you really just don't care that ads are on the jerseys, or if you feel even stronger about the fact that this decision has been made. Otherwise, if you have made it to this point, thank you very much for watching. If you did like or enjoy this video, there are buttons for that kind of stuff down below. Until next time, stay safe out there and be good to each other.